What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Tackle 22 Fishing. And we're going to do a little something different in this episode. I'm going to show you how I clean and prepare my favorite catfish meal. So I went out fishing last night on Lake West Point. I was supposed to fish with a Marine veteran, but he had some family issues come up, so I had to cancel. So I wound up sticking it out on the lake by myself. Did not want all that bait to go to waste. And I caught some good fish, some good eating catfish. And we're gonna get them cleaned up, and I'm gonna show you how it's done. Stay with us. All right, guys, so here are some tools that you will need. Tools that I use when I'm cleaning my catfish. I have my fillet knife set. I use a Bubba blade, 5-blade set, and depending on the type of fish I'm using, I generally use 2 blades. Either use this one. This usually will take care of most of your fish, but I also like the 8-inch Ultra Flex for really getting those fillets off of the skin. I use a regular kitchen hone to keep my knives good and sharp, and I also have a stainless steel mixing bowl with some water in it, so when I pull the fillets off the fish, I like to go ahead and get them soaking in some water right away. So here's the tools that I use, and I also keep a water hose with a sprayer, so that way I can spray any slime off, keep my fillets clean, and clean my cleaning table as I go. So I usually start before a knife touches any fish. I usually start with a couple runs over the hone. Keeps my edge nice on my blades and really helps keep those fillets nice and clean. So all you do, if you're not familiar with how to use a hone, I don't ever put a knife sharpener on my fillet knives, ever. Only thing I use is a kitchen hone. And all we're gonna do is we're gonna start at the bottom and do a couple of passes. And that's it. That maintains the edge on my blade, and I do this before anytime I use it. So that's a really sharp knife. All right, so as you can see, we got a nice channel cat here. I really like to start by giving my fish a really good spray off, a really good rinse, because as you know, catfish get really good and slimy, especially these blue and channel cats. So I really like to try to get as much of that off as possible. It really makes it easier to handle, and really just going to make your life easier when you start cleaning these fish. So I usually like to start out about here. There's a really hard plate on the top of their head, but I like to make my initial cut here, and we'll start down the spine. So here we go. Go around that plate on their dorsal fin, and we just work down that backbone. And once I get to about here, I like to go all the way through, keeping that knife angled down towards the backbone, and come all the way through. Again, I'm sure there are many ways to do this, and some of you probably have your own ways or better ways. This is just the way that I've always cleaned fish, and it just works for me. So continue to work down the rib bones, and then we make another cut to go around so we can really start separating this meat. Now with catfish, you really want to be careful not to bust the guts, bust into the stomach, but we really want to get as much meat off of this guy as we can, because it is delicious. And you can see I'm not pressing hard. I'm really just letting the knife do the work around these bones. I probably could even switch to the more flexible blade. That will help out. And again, I'm no cleaning expert, so I'm sure somebody in the comments will talk about how much meat I'm leaving. But again, I'm no expert. And there you go. There's your nice channel cat fillet. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side, and then I'll show you how I get the meat off of the skin. All right, there you go. We have both of our fillets there. Still have the skin on. It's really not bad. I really like these knives. They are really super sharp and really makes your life easier when you're filleting. And if you can see here, I think we did a pretty good job getting as much meat as possible off of this fish. We certainly don't want to be wasteful. We certainly appreciate being able to catch him and put some meat on the table for their family. So find my hose and clean up my area a little bit. I don't know if you I don't know if it's just me or what, but I really like to keep my table clean when I'm cleaning fish. Now for this part, I'm going to switch to the 8-inch Ultra Flex blade on my Bubba set, and it just really helps. It's really super flexible, and it helps to get all the meat off. So we're gonna take that off here and switch it. I really like this knife set because, as you can see, it's got a little guide there for your tang of your blade, and you just slide it in and it locks just like that. It's a really great set. I picked it up on Amazon. I think it was about $89 or something like that, which you really can't beat. So when I'm pulling my fillets off, I generally don't leave the whole fillet. I usually cut it in half because I usually chunk my catfish meat into nuggets anyway, but we'll leave it whole for this video. So my first cut is going to be down here. There's not a lot of usable meat down here, so I like to make it a point to start at. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to work my blade in here, and it's really important to let the knife do the work. So I'm going to get a good flex on that blade, a good bend, and I'm going to start separating the meat from the skin. Just keep some tension on the skin, keep it pulled nice and tight, and pull it straight through. Oh, we left a little bit of skin on. Like I said, I'm no expert, but we just pull this skin off real quick. And you'll notice this dark red muscle meat. We want to try to get as much of that off as possible as well, because that's where your really strong fish flavor is going to come from. So really try to separate as much of that as possible when you are doing your fillets and you're using a knife that really allows you to get close to that skin. You're going to wind up with a lot of this dark red meat, and that just doesn't taste very good. So definitely try to get as much of that off as possible. Get the rest of the skin off. All right, fish cleaning haters, go easy on me in the comments, y'all. All right, that's not bad. A little piece of skin here. Come on. All right, so I do the rest of the cleaning up of the fillet when I'm preparing to cook, but I'll show you what I do next here, as I really like to get that bloodline out. Some people call it the bloodline, some call it the mud line, but again, that's where a lot of your strong flavor comes in your fish fillets. And like I said, a lot of your darker muscle meat is going to be really close to that bloodline. So I like to separate it. There's one side. and there's the other. So from here, when I'm preparing to cook it, I will cut this into nuggets, and we'll cover that a little bit later. But it's not bad. And then I stick it in my bowl that's got some water in it, so I can go ahead and start to clean these fillets up. And the longer they soak, they'll really start to turn that nice pretty white color, and just tastes much cleaner, and you really enjoy them a lot more. Get all that in our bucket. All right, next fillet. I really prefer this method because I really don't like skinning catfish. Seeing people nail them to a tree, seeing people hang them from hooks, and skinning catfish is just really not enjoyable for me, so I don't do it. And there we go. It's gonna be ready to get chunked up. Like I said, once we're getting closer to preparing this to eat, I'll pull a lot more of this darker red meat off, clean it up a little better, but for now we're just getting our fillets. And there you have it. That's how I clean my fish. So if you have any questions about what you've seen here today, any of the things that I've used, please put them in the comments and I will certainly answer. And stick around, we're gonna get this soaking. I'm gonna show you how I soak it and get it ready to prepare, and then show you how we cook it and eat it. So stay with us. All right, guys, so we got our catfish fillets all filleted up, and I'll show you the next step here. So as you pull your fillets out and they are in the water, I like to put them in the water as soon as I fillet them. And it really starts to pull that extra blood out of the water, or out of the fillets, I'm sorry, and really starts to really brighten up the fillets, really improves the flavor, and it's just gonna make for better food. So I'm gonna show you what we got going on here and what I do to continue to improve on my fillets so that when I'm cooking, everything tastes top notch. All right, so you can see from filleting the fish and just having them put in the water as soon as I pull the fillets out, the water's already gotten really discolored. It's turning red from it pulling the blood out of the fillets. And what I'm gonna do, and what I do for the next few hours, is just change the water. And I continue to make water changes until the water remains clear, and then you're ready to cook your fish. Oops, didn't mean to do that. All right, you can already see those fillets are already starting to brighten up and get to that nice white color. Now I usually put them on cold water, and when I fill up the bowl with water, I put a little bit of seasoning in it, and then I put it in the refrigerator to keep it cool and keep it fresh until we're ready to cook. I've heard of some people putting salt in their water. I've heard of some people putting rock salt in their water. What I actually like to do, let me rinse my hand off here. I like to prepare my catfish pretty spicy. So I actually put a little bit of Cajun seasoning in it. Put a little bit of Cajun seasoning in my fish. Anyone will do. I've used Tony's, I've used Emeralds, I've used just about whatever, but just whatever you got in the cabinet. Season it up a little bit. It's got a little salt, a little pepper, stuff like that. So I don't know if it really marinades that much, but it makes me feel like it does, so I do it. And all right, guys, those are prepped and wet and ready to go in the refrigerator. I'll check back in a couple hours when we're ready to do some cooking. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. You can see it's been a couple hours now, and these fillets have really brightened up. I've strained them, and now we're gonna get into the real detail work of trimming these up and making our nuggets. So what I got is my bowl of fillets there, a pan to put them in and let them dry off a little bit, and my cutting board and knife. And let me get you set up. All right, ready for our close-up. So you can see we still got some darker red spots on here, and we're gonna trim all this up as we go along. But I really like to cut it into about 1-inch pieces, 1.5, maybe 2-inch pieces. And then I put it in the pan with a paper towel there and let it start to kind of dry out a little bit, because it has been soaking in water. And letting it dry out a little bit, maybe not so waterlogged, is really going to make it easier to cook, and you're going to get that good flavor. Don't those look good? If I can keep it in my hand, those are going to be great. So this is off of that Channel Cat. If you get smaller pieces of that dark meat like this, it's really not going to change your flavor a whole lot. But like I said, I don't like it, but it makes me feel better to go ahead and just slice it off. All right, guys, so there's really only one seasoning I use for my catfish, and it's the Louisiana Spicy Cajun. And I have not tried making my own yet. That may be something I try to do in the future. But I just put it in a Ziploc bag, and I throw the fillets in there, or the nuggets in there, roll it around, and let it get a hot grease bath. So I'm waiting on my oil to heat up. I generally like it between 350 and 400 degrees, somewhere in there. So you get that real good crisp flash fry on it, and really makes for great fish. So I'm gonna get you down close so you can see what we're doing. All right, kind of got a small area to work with due to the layout of our kitchen, but as you can see, we got some nice nuggets there. Just throw them in the seasoning. We get these seasoned up while I'm waiting on my oil to come to temperature, and you really just pile them in there. Close up my Ziploc bag and give them a good roll. I really like to do it this way. It takes some excess moisture from them soaking the water out and really makes nice dry breading on the outside, which really helps them crisp up and makes for some excellent nuggets. All right, looks like we're about at the temperature. It's time to get these nuggets into a nice hot grease bath. I love that sound of catfish getting cooked. Now I don't really have a timer or a time that I use to pull these out of the oil. What I do is I just wait until the breading on the outside is a nice golden brown, and then put them on our paper towel here to let the oil come off. While that's going, I am going to get more fillets ready. Get them good and tossed. See how we're doing. Getting close. I think those are looking pretty darn good. I can get in my bag here. Y'all, I've never tried to make any kind of cooking video before, so please bear with me. This is not easy. Trying to do this without making a mess. I think by the time I'm done, Brandy's gonna wish that I had fired up the outdoor fryer to do this instead of doing it inside, but you know, we live and learn. So there we go. Next load, hitting some grease. These are starting to look pretty good. My favorite part about being the cook and cooking a whole bunch of fish is I get the snack. Look at that. This turned out so good. Just right. And there you have it, folks. Nothing goes better with some nice spicy catfish nuggets and a nice pot of cheese grits. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed cooking this meal and enjoying it with my girlfriend Brandy. And stick around, subscribe, follow Tackle 22's mission as we fish to end 22 veteran suicides a day. But I'm gonna have to catch you next time because it's time to eat.